Hello and welcome. I'm Helen Pecker and I'm the designer of these wedding dresses. Today we will make overbust corset pattern. For this I will use special paper with horizontal and vertical lines. This will make my job easier. I retreat from the cut of the sheet 2 cm and the measurement front length. Let me remind you how we make this measurement. So I measure the distance equal to this measurement and mark the point. The waistline will be drawn through this point. But not now. Now I draw a vertical line along this section of the paper. Then I draw a horizontal line through the previously marked point. This is the waistline. The point of intersection of these two lines I call the letter T. From the point T upwards I mark the length of the back from the waist. I mark point A. After that, I need to measure the armhole depth. From the T point upwards, I mark the depth of the armhole. To do this, from the armhole depth measurement, I subtract 5. I call the resulting point the Russian letter P. You use your alphabet. From point T down the vertical line, I postpone the measurement distance between the waist and hips. The resulting point I call the Russian letter B. You can use, for example, the letter H because there will be a line of the hips. I draw a horizontal line from this point. I repeat again, this is the hip line. From the point on the hips, I measure the width of our pattern. The width of the pattern is half the measurement of the bust line. For example, the measurement of the bust line is 92 centimeters. So this 92 should be divided by 2 and use the resulting 46 centimeters. I call the resulting point Russian B1. From point A, I draw a horizontal line with a length equal to the width of the pattern. I call the resulting point A1. Now I connect point A1 with point Russian B1. From the point Russian P, I draw a horizontal line. This is the armhole depth line. I call the resulting point the Russian letter P1. One more point on the waistline I call T1. The next measurement that I need is the second bust width. It is also called the second front width. Let me remind you how it is measured. From this point to this point, I will explain again. It is first point, and this is the point that I need now. From this point to the second same point. This is the second front width. I divide the front width measurement in half and measure this half from the Russian P1. From point P to the right, I postpone the measurement of the back width divided by 2. I call the resulting points P2 and P3. Now I divide this section of the line P2, P3 in hell but on the drying. The resulting point is called the Russian point P4. Then, from P4, draw a vertical line down to the intersection with the hip line. Now I need the measurement front waist length, from the neck point through the bust point to the waistline. From the point T1 upwards, I postpone the length of the front waist. And I mark point A2. Now I divide the measurement of the neckline by 6. And from point A2 to the left horizontally, I postpone the result of this division. I mark point A3. From the point A2 down, I postpone the measurement of the length from neck to bust. I mark the point with the Russian letter G. From this point to the left horizontally, I postpone half the distance between the points of the bust. I mark a new point with the Russian letters CG. I connect this point with a line to point A3. Now I need to measure the bust tuck depth. It is measured like this. From the point of the neck in the center of the front, I make a right angle. The first side of the corner is horizontal. And the second side of the corner should rest against the plane of the bust. I need the number on the tape, which is the apex of the corner, and I use this figure. I open the side of the compass to the length of this measurement, for example 10 centimeters, and make an arc from point A3. I measure the length of the line from point A3 to the bust point and make a second arc with a centimeter tape until it intersects with the first arc. This is point A4. Now I connect the A4 point with the bust point with a line. From point T2 down, I postpone the measurement of the length of the corset from the waist to the side. This is point H2. And this is the line of the middle of the back. Along the line of the middle of the back from point T downwards, I measure the length of the corset along the center of the back. This is point H. And this is the line of the middle of the front. Along the line of the middle of the front from the point T1 down, I measure the length of the corset in the center of the front. I get point H1. After that, I connect the H1 point with the H2 point with a line. And I also connect point H2 with point H. This is how I got the corset bottom line. These are the bust points. This is the bust line. And this is the top line of the corset. We need to know or measure the distance from the bust line to the top line. For example, 8 centimeters. I measure this 8 centimeters from the Russian point G to the top. I mark a new point V and draw a horizontal line from this point. I mark point V1. The bust point is marked with the Russian letters CG. Now I press the point of the compass to the point of the bust and draw an arc. The second side of the compass is at point V1. From point P3 I draw a vertical line upward. This line is perpendicular to the horizontal line. Now I measure the distance from point P3 to point P2, for example 8 centimeters. After that, I multiply this 8 centimeters by 0.2. As a result, I get 1.6. Now, from point P3, I draw a B sector with a length of 1.6 centimeters. I mark new point, point P5. My next step is to draw a top line. I'm using an accelerate device. If you don't have such a device, you can simply draw it with your fingers. Now I work with back.